Very good. Alright, how you guys doing?
Good.
Alright, so I'm gonna start this speech off by asking you guys a question. So, what would you guys be willing to give in order to save someone's life? Just think about that. I know it's a tough question. The next thing I'm gonna ask is, if you guys were in a life or death situation, would you want there to be someone that can save you by them donating their body to medicine? So I've been a organ donor for probably like 2 years now, and it's just made me realize that I don't know, just taking that small step can really change somebody else's life. And I just think more people need to become donors in the United States, because the more donors there is, the higher the chance of saving other people's lives. So the American Transplant Foundation, which is like an organization, stated that one deceased donor, so one person that is a donor and they died, that one person can save up to 8 people's lives with their organs, and with their tissue, they can help up to close to 100 people. So just, think about how many people you could help if you are a donor. But the problem in this country is that there isn't enough people that have registered to be donors, and the Health Resources and Services Administration came out with a statistic that said that 95% of people in the United States agree with people that want to be donors, but what percentage do you think of people in the US actually are? Only 58%. So, you could look at it either way. You could think 58% is a decently high percentage of people, but it's still not enough. And the reason is because Penn Medicine Organization came out with another statistic saying that out of all the people in the United States that are donors, only 2% of that 58% will actually, when they die, be able to, their bodies will be able to be used for transplants, because you have to die a certain way in order for doctors to be able to use your organs, because you're putting a random person's organ into another body, so it's a pretty risky thing to do. So only 2% can do that. And the way this is affecting the U.S. population is that it's causing basically a waiting list for people that are trying to get transplants. So I want to say, according to the American Transplant Foundation, there's roughly 114,000 people that are waiting to get a transplant. So it's a pretty big number of people that may never get a transplant, but they're still on a list. They're put on a list and told, okay, well, you have to wait to get a transplant, and that you may not even get that. And it might seem like a hassle to go and register, but I was reading on this. There's a few ways that you can register to be a donor, and the Cleveland Clinic has a website I was reading on, and this is the way I became a donor. But all you got to do is you go to the DMV when you guys get your licenses, like you just got, and you're filling out the paperwork, and there's a box that says, do you want to be a donor, yes or no? You just click yes, and then when you get your license, it'll show that you're a donor, so that just authorities and people know that you are a donor. And if that's too much of a hassle, another way you could do it is there's this website run by UNOS, and UNOS is an organization called the United Network of Organ Shares. And what they basically do is they have a website, and there's a link on that website that you can click, and if you click the link, it takes you directly to this form you fill out. All online, you don't have to show up anywhere. You just fill out the details it asks for. Probably takes 15 minutes tops. And that's another way to become a donor, if that's what you want to do. And that's honestly, it's the least amount of effort that each of us can put in to try and make a bigger change, Just to become a donor. And if we don't do this, if each of us don't take this step, I mean, people are going to continue to unnecessarily die because of something that we could have done easily, you know? Just take that small step, that's all it takes. There's another statistic by Penn Medicine, the organization I mentioned before, and they say that approximately 18 people die every single day that are waiting to get transplants. So every single day, 18 people die because they weren't able to get transplants. And I mean, we just have to start realizing the impact that each one of us can make on other people's lives by just taking this small step. You know, you could save a person's life. And it's all just registering to be a donor. That's all you have to do. It's a simple step. And I mean, if you guys want, I can give you I'll send you guys a link or whatever, or if I'll even go to the DMV with you. But we definitely have to, let's just take this small step together and start making a big change. So do you guys have any questions at all?
Yeah. If you're a donor, can you still receive a transplant from somebody else?
Yeah, so, I mean, just because you're put on the list doesn't mean you actually, like, get cut from so if you were to need a transplant, you probably do get put on the list, but, I mean, it's never, like I said before, it's not a guarantee that you actually get the transplant, so, yeah, CJ.
What do you think the leading cause, because I'm a donor myself, but what do you think's the leading cause for people who are not donors? Why do you think that they would choose not to share their organs after they pass?
I personally think it's just like a personal thing where people, you know, they like, even if we know that, even we don't know what happens after you die, people are still kind of like, well, I don't want my body being, you know, like they don't know what's going to happen to their bodies after they're gone. But I don't know. I think it's more of like a personal, like a fear, you know, that they want to be buried or know where they're going to lay for the rest of eternity.